welcome back. It's episode 5 of Unbuttoned, and we are here to share some really funny content today. Last week, we did our interview questions, and we had you guys send us your icks, like things that just bug you and like rub you the wrong way. And so we've compiled a list.
Yeah, and we should clarify, ick does not mean like you think that person's like a horrible person or like, and they're not intended to be like mean. It's just maybe like I would describe an ick as something that gets under your skin a little bit.
Yeah.
Or something that you notice more than other things. Not necessarily like a bad thing, just something that you notice that makes you tick a little bit.
Right. Like Lauren was reading a few of hers this morning and I was like, oh, really? That doesn't bother me.
Right.
But it's so funny to like hear some of yours, and I can totally relate to some of the ones that you guys sent in. So we're should we start going through a few of ours?
Yeah, we'll go through a few of ours and we'll like quickly touch on each one. And if we don't agree on it, it will maybe just describe why it gives us the ick.
Yes.
Okay. This one doesn't give me the ick that much, but it gives Elizabeth. Small chat with strangers on a plane.
Oh, I hate that. It
It doesn't bother me. With the right person, like if they're just like...
I feel like if I'm on a plane, I'm like really looking forward to like not having to talk to anyone or really do anything. I was actually just talking about this with, I think it was Allie last night, and we were saying I actually like to not get the Wi-Fi on a long flight because actually, well, if I have stuff I have to get done, I'll do it. But like, it's one of the only times that I'll actually sit there and like read a book or
sleep
or
literally a flight attendant asked me to wake her up one time.
Yes, I actually have a hard time sleeping on planes. So if I'm tired enough, it's great time.
I feel like you always say that and then you're asleep every single flight.
Yeah, usually because it's like market and I am exhausted. But I think the reason I don't like it is because you're kind of trapped. Like if you start chatting, then you stop. It like feels awkward.
Well, that's why I mean the right person. Like it has to be somebody that you know is going to stop too and isn't going to talk your ear off the whole time.
Yes.
We flew to Italy one time and I took some like Tylenol PM. I was like, see you later. And my cousin got trapped talking to somebody
the whole time.
And I'm like, that's worst case scenario.
Yeah, I guess it also depends on the flight time. Like, if it's like a quick hour flight and there's someone nice sitting next to me chit-chatting, it doesn't bother me that much, but I still would prefer not to. So if you ever see me on a flight, don't talk to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody note, if you see her at the airport.
Also, if I'm traveling with like friends, like when we fly together, I don't want to not talk to you the whole time.
And you
but a
sleep,
stranger,
so you kind of do that.
A stranger I don't love. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
This one we just had a whole debate about earlier, so it needs some clarification. Slow love professing talks. Now, I don't mind if we're going out to dinner and you're like, you look really pretty. Or we're with people and we're out and you're talking good about your significant other.
Yeah.
Or little compliments like that. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like if we're just sitting on the couch and you are like, oh, you're just the best thing ever. You do this, and this. You're so amazing. I'm like, that's smothering. I just don't like to be smothered. It
Lauren
makes me feel
doesn't
uncomfortable.
like anything smothery.
No.
Like from a guy at all. Nothing.
Anyone really, yeah. I like a little bit of words of affirmation and to know that you like care, but I don't want to be smothered.
I agree. I feel like feeling smothered is like a really big turnoff for me.
It's
like,
just,
I need a little hard to get, but I do agree. Like every once in a while, it's nice to hear like, you're so pretty or you're a great mom.
like little compliments, but I don't think that's like a long professing love talk.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between the two because I agree. Yeah, I want to hear it, which that's another thing that we were talking about. Everybody's love language is just a little bit different. And so, because she said, well, I love words of affirmation. And like, I do too. It's not that I don't like it. It's just not my top love language where I need to hear it all the time. All the time I'm like,
yeah. I also think it kind of depends on like the point in your relationship, you know, because like I feel like when you're like newly dating, it was like cute to get like a really sweet text, you know, like a little bit love professing because it was like exciting.
That's really
true.
But also, you just saying that reminded me. I think that if somebody does it too often, it doesn't feel meaningful.
Totally,
because then you're like, are you just saying this to say this because you think I want to hear it?
Yeah, and then it gets old and annoying.
Right. So that's kind of what I mean.
And smothery. Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. I'm going to skip around.
Yeah.
This one kind of goes with your significant other. So I'm going to this one. Some people might disagree. Calling your significant other mommy or daddy when not in the presence of your children?
I mean, I think that's pretty bad.
Like, sure, if my kid's around, I'm like, what did dad say?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not gonna like,
hey,
the
daddy.
kids are asleep and I'm like, hey, dad, what'd you say? I'm like, you aren't my dad. And that's grossing me out.
Daddy is worse.
Daddy is,
Yeah.
ain't for me.
Or like if I called Peter and he answered the phone, he said, hey, mommy. I'd be like, oh.
Oh my God. I don't know. Something about that just feels so uncomfy. I think
Yeah,
that
I
I
don't
would
like
probably
that.
hang up and make sure it was
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay on the significant others for right now. Come on,
yeah,
train.
I'm looking to see.
Excessive PDA. We also had a debate about this. I don't mind if you hold my hand, give me a kiss, put your hand around my waist.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, just like I like a little tap to know that you care.
A little
That's good.
tap.
Yeah, I'm good with that. But when you feel like you need to full on make out with me or like have your arms around me 24/7, it's like, let it breathe. Like you're trying to prove something.
Yeah.
You don't need to prove. Go home and do that.
Yeah. I mean, that makes me feel uncomfy for sure, but it makes me feel more uncomfy if I'm like in the presence of other people doing that. Like if I'm like out to dinner.
That's what I mean. Like that's like PDA. Like when you're around other people.
But I also would not want a guy to be doing that to me either in public. Like, yeah, like a peck and like, exactly. Like affection is one thing, but like.
Yeah, I'm not heartless.
The people who sit in a restaurant and just like hardcore make out, that's pretty bad.
Right. You're like, why are we doing that right here?
Yeah.
Agree though. Like little affection.
Yeah.
All about.
This one from you guys says when I can hear my husband blow his nose in the shower, and that is so bad. My dad he always does that. He always has since we grew up, like the loudest nose blowing ever. That's pretty bad. I think that's pretty bad.
I didn't add that to my list, but I like that one. That's a good one.
I like that one.
Just honestly listening to anyone blow their nose in general, sometimes I'm like, quit it. Okay, going along with the excessive PDA, we just say we don't love long posts on social media where people will be like, get you a man that does. I'm like, I didn't ask you what kind of man I should be getting. And everyone likes a different type of man.
Yeah. And I think like, you know, on your significant other's like birthday or something, like to give them a birthday shout out's one thing. But like
or Father's
when it's
Day,
like
I do
every
that.
week and you're seeing these like, oh my God, my husband's the most amazing person ever. He is the most perfect man, the most perfect father. It like, to me, that just feels like you're trying to prove something. And I don't really understand why you need to blast it out all the time on social media.
I agree. Like
that's a red flag for me.
Yeah. And every once in a while, shout out.
Yeah.
Talking good about your spouse. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I think that's important. However, the overdoing it, I'm like, feels like, I'm always like, what am I missing? Something's not fully here because why does the world need you to brag on your husband every day?
He could do no wrong ever in my eyes.
First of all, I wouldn't even expect somebody to ever say that about me.
I know.
Like everybody does a little.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that just got me heated. He does no wrong. That's weird. Okay.
And that's just
I'll
wrong.
let you read some too.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
The first one I just looked at is doggy paddling.
It's just kind of unattractive. And honestly, I mean, I doggy paddle too. But like anybody, if you
how do you want him to swim?
Well, that's the thing. It's not just men.
You want like a
sorry, it's
backstroke?
not just men. No, that's what I was gonna say. But if you started doing like the butterfly, I'd be like, relax. This isn't the Olympics.
Right.
But there's something about looking out and somebody's like fighting for their life. You're like, help them. I mean, geez.
Okay.
So I don't know.
One.
That one you can't help it. That's one that I'm like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Everyone's gonna doggy paddle. I do it, but it's kind of icky.
Yeah. Men who care more about their looks than me. Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
I don't like that at all. I'm like, I can barely keep up with my skincare routine. I don't need you like looking like $1 million and I'm looking like some straggly thing on the side of the street.
Yeah, I mean, I want them to like care about their appearance, but like if it's like obsessive, it gets weird.
I agree. I feel like there's a fine line. You don't want somebody to like not care at all and just look like dumpy.
Yeah.
But then there's another side of it where I'm like, okay, I mean, don't outdo me. Don't spend longer in the bathroom than me and be like primping and priming.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think we've said this, we've told Sav this little tidbit too. I just kind of always feel like the girl should be just a little bit more attractive.
I agree.
You gotta keep them there.
Heck yeah. I totally agree.
I think it's,
Okay. This one that I just looked at is hilarious. Man spreading, especially in khakis. Like spreading their legs.
Like when men sit like this and then they're like, I can't even do it. Their whole like junk is just like tight against the khaki. You're like, can you not? It's just so gross. I had a high school. Well, I say that because I had a high school teacher who used to do it, and I was like, ugh, repulsive. Like that's nasty.
Yeah,
and loosen up those khakis around the crotch.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of bad in like athletic shorts too because you can like really see it.
Yeah, I guess I've never noticed it as much. I just fixate on the khakis. But yeah, that's so true.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty funny one. I'll never forget one time we went ziplining as a family, and the guys had to wear like, like the harness that goes like over their hips and stuff. And like, I felt like I couldn't even like look at any of the men.
Right.
Like,
I feel like I wouldn't be like,
my family members. I'm like, eye contact only.
And it's like, there's no other way to do it. Like they have to wear that harness, but like you want to immediately be like, please take that off.
But I'm pretty sure Peter was wearing khakis that day.
First of all, who wears khakis to go ziplining?
I don't know.
Weirdo.
I know.
Probably had the Crocs on with it.
At that time, he didn't have those Crocs.
Oh, thank God.
That's the only reason I married him at the time. Okay, let's see. Holes in socks, one of you guys said. That's pretty bad, too.
Ooh,
like, throw them out.
Oh, sometimes I find a hole in the bottom of my sock.
I mean, if I'm like really short on socks, I'll wear a sock with a hole in it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It gives me the ick, too, because the whole time I'm wearing it, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I wear them. I'm just...
Yeah, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I get where you're coming from.
I see it because it is annoying. Like throw it out and get a new pair.
Yeah.
Somebody on there, I don't know if you've gotten to it, said walking barefoot in public places.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Now, that's disgusting. But I want to clarify. Like, are we talking about like around the perimeter of the pool? Because it's like, what are you going to put your shoes on until you get into the water?
I feel like probably like going pee at the pool and not putting your shoes on.
Okay. That's why gross. I just wanted to clarify because that's gross.
And I'm not going to lie. I've done that a handful of times. I mean, that's pretty disgusting.
I think everyone's probably done it a handful of times. And every time I've done it, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like
I just feel like I'm getting like warts on the bottom of my feet or something.
Yeah. No, that is
valid.
Gross. That's valid. This person said when someone bites into a string cheese rather than peels it.
I sometimes do that.
I do too. If I'm really hungry, I take that thing down in 2 bites.
Yeah. One of the ones on my list was when people are eating and their teeth hit the fork
like
all
every
the
time.
Like every bite. Like, okay, sure, mine does that every once in a while, but every bite, I'm like,
yeah. Or one that like really gets under my skin, even more than the fork, is like a piece of hard candy or like a sucker, and it keeps hitting their teeth over and over again, and they're like.
Like, I've never noticed that.
Peter J does that so bad, my son.
No, I've never noticed that. But you doing that sound is one of the icks on here.
Like
when somebody puts something in their mouth and because they want to try to see if they like it, and they go,
oh yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
And they're thinking about it, but using that mouth, I'm like, you don't actually have to click your mouth together like that to taste it. Like we don't need the sound effect.
Yes, that's so true. Yeah, I hate hearing hard candy or like a sucker like touching people's teeth.
Fair. I guess it's similar to the fork. It's like,
yeah, it's very
just
similar.
The teeth sound.
Joint Facebook accounts.
Get your own. Get your own. Why can't you just get your own? I don't get that.
Couples who feed each other, repulsive.
What are you, a toddler?
I don't know that I've ever.
All right, let's be clear. Like, if like somebody had a dessert and I'm like, oh, can I have a bite? And they just handed me the fork. Like, all right, fine.
Yeah,
but if I'm at a dinner and you're twirling up my spaghetti and handing it, putting it in my mouth, I'm like, what?
No.
What?
Yeah, I don't like
it's
that.
Not for me.
What? Some of these are so funny. Men with dangly earrings. Enough said.
Yeah. I feel like we don't need to explain that one.
Yeah. Guy Fieri frosted tips.
That was such a thing though, back like when we were in grade school.
There's a massive portrait on Peter's parents' wall of my husband at that age, like probably middle school. I'd say he was probably like in 5th or 6th grade. We should dig up the photo, and he had some frosted tips.
Oh yeah, a lot of guys. And do you remember when they like gelled
straight
I was gonna say gelled
yes.
up straight up in the front. That was definitely a thing. And honestly, it was cute back then. Now I'm like, okay.
Men sitting cross-legged, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, like I notice it. I don't know why I'll like look over and be like,
It doesn't bother me when it's like an old man. Like my papa does that. I mean, he's like 95. It's like kind of cute when he does it for some reason, but like.
That's honestly one that like it depends on my mood if it's going to give me the ick.
And it kind of depends on
the
the
way
guy.
your legs are crossed. If your leg is crossed like this, I'm like, fine, whatever.
That doesn't bug me.
But this, I'm like,
that just feels feminine.
It feels a little feminine. But again, I guess it would depend on like the instance.
And I'm like, doesn't that hurt?
Right. Like, are you crushing stuff down there?
Yeah.
Or where are you tucking it, you know?
I always wonder about that when guys like, this is TMI, but like when guys like ride a bike or like go horseback riding, what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know. That feels like it would be real painful.
It does.
It's just getting a little tap. I don't know. Bike
Like,
riding
is it
does
to
feel
the
like
side, to the
I feel
front?
like that's why like probably guys don't really like to ride bikes.
I mean, I don't know. Peloton, yeah, there's a lot of guys out there.
I know Hunter like refused to ride the Peloton. Now I'm thinking probably because it's gonna be
Like,
real
'cause it's
painful
not
up in there.
gonna be-
Honestly,
Very
even
true.
riding a bike for I was a girl, woman, female.
Yeah,
Is
you get
painful.
sore the
I'm
first
like,
few times. Yeah, dress socks with athletic shoes. That's a freaking
like
faux
that.
pas. I do not like that.
It's like just go upstairs and get a different pair of socks. Like, why are we doing that?
A couple people said men wearing socks with sandals, and I do agree with that. My husband does it every freaking day of his life.
But why? Like, why aren't we just taking off the socks?
I don't know.
Because aren't sandals to let your feet like breathe a little, get some air?
Yeah. I guess if you're wearing sandals as almost kind of like slippers, like some people wear socks with slippers.
My husband does that shit, and it drives me insane.
I know that
claims
shit
his
makes
feet are
my feet sweat
Always
so bad.
cold. And so every Christmas I buy him a pair of like, they're like manly, leather slippers, but still I'm like, how are your feet that cold? But his feet are always really cold. So he's a
Yeah,
slipper
I
wearer.
will say like if it's a pair of slippers that has like fur on the inside, I kind of prefer to put a sock on with those because then when your feet start sweating and it's like that fur.
I don't like my slippers
would
get sweaty,
put-
but I also just am not a slipper wearer in general. My feet don't get cold that much, but I understand why people wear them.
Yeah. And might wear socks. But with sandals, I'm not really understanding that.
Right, like that
Especially
I'm not
outside the
getting.
house. I don't
Right.
really get that.
Agree.
Okay. Let's pick
Oh, does
another
Peter
one.
wear that outside the house like that?
No, just
Oh,
like
okay.
around the
I was
house.
like, wow.
Yeah. God, no.
Okay, now this one is going to be maybe an unpopular opinion, but I don't like slapstick humor. Like, I don't think Adam Sandler is funny in the slightest.
Adam Sandler.
Like, I think he's just such a
Sav
tryhard.
loves him.
I know she would. He's just, I mean, a lot of
Although,
people like him.
I watched a movie with him recently, and it wasn't a comedy role, and he was actually amazing.
No, I think
I'll
it's
have
just
to
his
remember
voice.
the name.
Something about it drives me nuts. And like slapstick humor to me feels so forced. Like the kind of humor I think is funny is when somebody is quick witted. Like
Yeah.
if you're quick with a witty joke, I literally will probably think you're the funniest human being on this planet. I'm not kidding. Like I love that type of humor. That's why I like Vince Vaughn because he like improvs a lot and
Yeah.
he's witty.
He's
But
great.
Adam Sandler is like he wrote down his jokes and is telling them.
I
Like
even think like Will Ferrell's gotten really cringy lately.
he's
like,
gotten
the
more
older
cringy, but
gotten.
he's not as cringy as Adam Sandler.
Like him in the Barbie movie, I was like, oh God, it's time to retire. It was bad.
Oh, I kind of forgot he was in the Barbie
Yeah.
movie. You know, you're right.
He's a good example too.
He is a good example.
I have movies that I love him in.
But you also
But
have
yeah.
like you can stand Adam Sandler, which is fine.
I can
he's just
stand
not
him,
my
but-
thing.
yeah.
That's like me with Anne Hathaway. Like I just don't.
Yeah,
like
something about her
Something
you
about
really
her
don't
rubs
like.
me the wrong way. But, anyways, yes, slapstick humor. It's a lot of people find it funny. It's just not for me.
Oh, this is a good one. When guys are too logical during gossip.
Hunter is. I'll say something gossipy, and I'll be like, and he's like, well, no.
Well, maybe it was because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't ask for a whole monologue.
Just gossip.
But
with
then
me
I
for a
also
second.
hate the opposite when they're too gossipy. I'm like, ew, what are you, a girl?
So true.
I'm like,
so
oh,
true.
why
I
would
have
you
to
do that?
like force Peter to gossip with
Same.
me. He'll be like, why are you talking about that? And I'm like, can you just
Because they're too logical.
Yeah.
Hunter will like go deep into like, well, maybe they didn't mean it like that. I'm like, ugh, you're missing the point.
slamming the shot glass back down on the table.
Like, we know you took the shot. We saw you do it.
It's even more obnoxious when it's like a slam first and then they take it and then they slam it down.
Yeah, that's true.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, okay, let's see. Yeah, also when guys are too gossipy. I do like that.
Gotta be somewhere in between.
Okay. We've got a
What?
few of these eating related ones. When guys lick their fingers after eating wings, that's really gross, especially if they're like licking them like a freaking sucker, trying to
one
get
by
every
one.
piece of sauce off.
And then after that, they followed up with the teeth picking.
Oh, that was going to be my next one. Like the back of the teeth, getting food out of the back of your teeth, like sitting there in public doing that. I'm like,
Right.
that's gross. Like at least like turn around or go to the bathroom.
But I feel like men just find no problem with that. They don't even notice they're doing it.
Yeah, a
I'm
few
like,
of you guys said
huh.
that one too. That one's pretty bad.
Yeah. I feel like we've done a lot about guys, and it sounds like we literally hate men, which is not the case. So let's do some icks that like you may have about
Okay,
like
yeah,
other
yeah.
people in general. Let's see.
When people can't read the room.
Yeah, that's like anyone. You're like, I mean, just take the cue.
Right. Yeah.
It's so important to read the room. Now, obviously, everyone's guilty of it from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll like think back about something and be like, whoa, I missed the mark there.
Yeah, like you weren't picking up what was going on in that moment.
Totally. So everyone does it occasionally. However, people who consistently can't read the room, I'm like,
when people use Hotmail still.
okay. It's 2024. I get it. It's
or
hard
AOL.com.
to transfer over an email, but now they have where you can quite literally just forward the mail to your new one. I feel like Gmail is like the only.
Yeah, Laura,
device.
we're talking to you. You still have a Yahoo.
Sav has a Hotmail.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you're too young to have
Sav.
a Hotmail. Savannah, come here. We have a question to ask you. You can use here. You can use my mic. Come sit right here.
It's
We don't
okay.
either. Oh, you do. Just come sit down. Yeah.
We want to know, what is your email address?
Well, you don't have to get the whole thing, but just tell us the ending. You gotta go.
It's something at
hotmail.com. Yeah.
She's 20 something. Okay, my mom had a Hotmail, but like she.
Do you
is
think
older.
maybe you should just forward it to like a Gmail?
Yes, I think about it all the time, but that's so annoying because I have so many
It is honestly
things.
so annoying. It is really
But
annoying.
you can forward.
Yeah. We'll do it for you, honey.
I'll get
Okay.
you Gmail.
I think you've made me 3 Gmails at this point, and I don't.
doesn't use a single one.
Don't. I mean, I use the one for like the vendors, and then other than that, yeah, Hotmail. Sorry, bought it.
Bye. Okay, one that we have talked about a lot is and again, don't be offended if this is you, but people who drive a Jeep Wrangler and they have rubber ducks lined up on the dashboard. I really just what's like the backstory?
That's what I was gonna
there?
say. I think it's an ick for me because I'm like, I don't get it.
I don't get it. Yeah.
I've never had a Jeep, so kind of unfair for me to say, but I'm also
Yeah.
like, is there like when you go to get your Jeep at the dealership, okay? Are they like, okay, so you know
Here's
that
a
you
bag
gotta
of rubber duckies.
yeah, like you know you gotta be putting them up, or like do people trade them? Like what is it? I don't know.
If you know, let us know.
Yeah, let us know because maybe it wouldn't be such an ick, but for me when I see it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I wish Tracy was here because she might have a rubber ducky in her Wrangler.
Yeah, which just
But we've never gotten like this story.
I was
going
gonna
to
say which is fine. I just don't know the story.
Yeah.
That's the other thing when motorcyclists wave to each other. I'm like,
I knew you were going to
you
say
don't
that
know
one
them.
next. And the way they do the low down wave.
Yeah, it's like one thing if it was just like a they let you over, so you're saying
Yeah.
thank you, but like they got to wave to every other motorcyclist, and I'm like, is this a club? Like again, do you go get a motorcycle and they're like, now you know you got a low wave.
Oh, it's like you're part of the club, the wave club, if you have a motorcycle.
I guess.
It's weird. That brings me to another one. I cannot stand when people are at a red light and rev their engine uncontrollably over and over again. Typically men.
But what's the point?
What's the point?
I don't know. I thought maybe there was a point.
No, I don't think there's a point.
Because I didn't know if
you
it's
just
people who aren't in
wanna-
like manual or what's it called, or you are in manual.
No.
People who drive like a stick. Like, does it just do that?
No, if you're stopped, there's no reason
Okay.
to be doing that.
All right. I
It's
was
just like a way.
doubt.
Like,
Yeah,
getting all
tell us,
fired up.
jeez.
I feel like it's just like a douchey thing that like
like-
shows that you have a sweet car. Like,
Now that's another ick of mine. When I'm trying to think of what the term is.
let's just say when guys
When guys
do
are trying to
things,
flex
yeah,
on
when
you.
they're trying to flex,
Yeah.
that's the nice way. Of
Okay,
saying
yeah.
it.
So, anyways,
whether it be revving your engine or like
One-upping.
dropping money comments, that's one
Yeah.
of my biggest icks.
yeah, or like name dropping. Like they
Yes.
think like, okay, I don't care who you know. No offense.
Okay, yeah, name dropping is really annoying, and
don't like
so
name
is
dropping.
like
Money flexes are annoying too.
money flexes are so annoying.
I'm like, again, that's your own personal
Yeah.
business. I don't need you to show off how much money you have. I really don't care. I think that's great.
good
More
for
power
you.
to you. But like, is that your only thing you could talk about?
I know.
I don't like that type of flex.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Yeah, man flexing. We're gonna call it that. I like
Yeah,
that.
and revving your engine definitely is a flex. Like they just want people to hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or posting like pictures of like their car on Instagram.
I think it's great to be like have a passion, and if you're into cars, I think that's completely
Yes.
fine. But to walk around flexing on it, I'm like, I don't care. I didn't ask.
To walk around flexing on it.
Yeah, it's just not my thing.
Oh, air guitar.
Now let me say something. If you're at a wedding, the dance floor is hitting,
When else have you seen
and
anybody
people are
air guitar?
Fine. People who are like just standing there singing a song and they're like air guitaring. I'm like,
Okay, yeah.
quit it.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but like at a wedding or like somewhere people are dancing, fine, I'm gonna give it. It's like playful, whatever. But just like if you're genuinely serious doing air guitar, I don't like it.
Sab, do you air guitar when you're on a?
Do you think that's icky? Yeah. Oh, you do it? Awkward.
Awkward.
Yeah, I'm feeling real awkward about that.
Okay, let's look at a few of these from you guys again.
Yeah, let's go through some of their lists.
Okay, this says spitting while you talk. Example, a guy talking too close, but that's terrible, the spitting. But I actually hate that when I feel like it's when people get drunk and they stand so close to you, like uncomfortably close to you to the point where you're like feeling like you can't even make eye contact because they're going to like try to make out with you or something.
I just don't like people in close proximity to me.
But even
in
like
general.
a woman, like if you're talking that close to my face, it makes me feel so uncomfortable.
I feel uncomfortable when people are too close.
Yeah.
I like personal space.
Yeah.
And have you ever heard of the term gleeking?
Oh, yeah.
That made me think of it when you said that, where people like spit
Yes.
like through their front teeth. Isn't that what it is?
No,
Or, like,
it's like when your tongue like
spits out water.
Yeah.
Or saliva.
yeah, that's gross. But I feel like that's at least like usually on accident. But yeah, spitting while
That's
you
so
talk,
true.
that's
That's
really
not
bad.
But yeah.
Guys in sleeveless tops. That one doesn't bother me quite as much.
What do you mean sleeveless? Like a tube top?
No, like
like a muscle
cut
tank.
off. Yeah, those
If they're
don't bother
working
me
out,
that
I guess
bad.
that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know. That doesn't bother me as much. I could see how that would bother people. I don't know if
chewing
that
with
would
your
ever-
mouth open was a common one. That's pretty bad.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I catch myself sometimes and I give myself the ick when I'm like, close your mouth.
I feel like we all do it if we're like really rushing to like eat. Like some days when we're like really busy. I mean, I'm sure everybody has their moments, but I know that some people it makes them cringe so hard. Like no,
Some people
matter
are just
what.
a lot more cognizant of it than I am. And when I catch myself, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I agree with that one.
This is from Allison, top of the ick list this week, man colds. Man flu in general. Like,
Look, I know they get
I
sick.
could go on and
Men
on.
get sick. It's fair. Everyone gets sick. However, it's like you're not that sick that you can't function.
Right. Okay, yes, I completely agree. The other night, Peter burnt his fingertips.
All right, that hurts. I'm going to maybe side with him. Have you ever burned yourself like that?
Yes, and
Okay.
I truly did. I helped him like fix it up. I really did. I like went out and I got like all the spray we have out in the barn and like helped him fix it because it is the worst. But I mean, he was about to go to the ER. I'm like, what do you think they're gonna do? Like, other than what I just did, I like did the lidocaine spray. I like disinfected it. I wrapped it with gauze and everything. And he was just like, "Oh my God, I don't think I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight. I think I should go to the ER."
I'm kind of with him though.
It was
I
not
didn't see
that
I
bad.
didn't see the burn, so it's hard for me to say. But like,
I mean,
that
it was
one's-
a pretty bad burn.
a burn. I think is fair, but when you're like,
This drama wasn't warranted.
okay, you
Yeah.
saw it, not me, so I'm gonna.
A burn hurts like a bee for
A
sure.
burn is like a lingering pain.
But yeah, like a cold, and they act like they need to lay in
everyone
bed
gets
for a
cold, like
week.
take some Dayquil, continue on.
Power
Now again, if
through,
you have
men.
one day where you're like
Yeah.
laying in bed, okay, fair,
Yeah.
whatever, take the day. But like, if you're going on a week and you're still laying in bed, I'm like, I mean,
It's time.
that also reminds me when like a woman's giving birth and the guy's like, I'm so hungry, I'm so tired. I'm like,
Oh.
oh, you are?
Oh.
Like, huh? That's
Get
so
out of the
weird.
room.
I haven't eaten in 24 hours, been pushing this baby. I haven't even had a sip of water and you're hungry?
Oh, yeah, that
Like, oh,
one's
okay.
really bad.
Like, I don't want you to starve. I'm not evil, but also I'm like, just don't talk about it in front of me.
Mhm. Agreed.
Yeah.
Let's see here. When people can't laugh at themselves,
Yeah.
that's
I don't like that. It just, I guess that also goes along though with like my type of humor
yeah.
because I like witty, and witty sometimes is like making fun of yourself or this or that. So, I mean, I could see how people would be offended by that, but like, I have no problem making fun of myself.
Yeah, me neither. At all.
No.
We do it all day.
Yeah, all day. I was just thinking of another ick that kind of went along with when I said giving birth is whispering.
Oh yes, whispering.
I really
She hates
don't
whispering.
like whispering. I don't. It's just I don't know if it's like a sensory thing, but I'm like, ugh, quit it. I told Hunter, I'm like, I'm not the person who has a birth plan. I'm gonna do whatever the doctor says to do, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you lean down and whisper in my ear, I'm gonna flip. I don't need that. I don't want that. I'm already just had, there's enough going on. I'm like, you can hold my hand, you can talk to me, but do not whisper.
Yeah. Some of those like ASMR videos that are on YouTube that my kids watch where the person's like in the mic, like doing this like heavy whispering, it makes me kind of want to like lose my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But
like sends a tickle down your spine where you're like, ugh, quit it.
But like if somebody just like wants to tell you something quietly, does it make you feel weird?
No. So that's what I was going to say. Like if you just are genuinely in a spot where you need to whisper, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Whisper. Fine. I whisper sometimes. But if we're laying in bed and it's just us in the room and you lean over and whisper something, I'm like, why are we whispering? I don't like that. But yes, there are cases where whispering is appropriate.
Yeah.
But if it's not an appropriate time and you whisper in my ear, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't like that.
With
either.
that.
Yeah. I don't.
So whispering's an ick.
Yeah, that is an ick. I don't like that either.
Okay, good. It's not me. I'm not crazy.
Let's see here. What else? Visibly chapped lips, which we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when my lips get that chapped. But like
That doesn't bother me that much.
yeah, I think it's kind of gross. I think it's more gross though if like they pick it.
But I also don't want a man to look like he's got lip gloss on.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe just like put
Wear
some Vaseline
chapstick.
on at night and call it a day.
Yeah. And then don't like pick it and make it bleed and like do that around me. I don't like that.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Which again, when my lips get chapped, I totally do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I try not
wasn't
to
going to call you out, but I was going to say, I have seen you picking your lips before.
My lips get so freaking dry. They burn so easily in the sun. And if I wear lipstick, like my lips are always freaking dry. But
like
I
try to put on Aquaphor on my lips before I go to bed because I do think my lips get really chapped.
Finding a stray hair anywhere near food. That actually doesn't bother me that much, weirdly.
I'm going to be honest. There's a few times that I've found a stray hair and I'm like, I'm going to hope/pretend that's mine because I really want this.
I agree. I mean, if it's like a long ass hair in something that you haven't even started picking at and it's like woven into your food, I think that's disgusting.
Yeah, that's real gross.
But like, I don't know. It doesn't really bug me that much. I mean, if it's like in my food, I would definitely like eat around that area.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's like a hair on the table, like some people would be like, "Oh my god, that's so
I
disgusting."
don't mind
I'm
a hair on the
gagging.
table.
But I
don't a hair on the table. I mean, we all like shed hair. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I don't
bother
want
me.
it intertwined into my food.
Yeah, that's really gross.
But I mean, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I definitely have probably picked out a little hair out of my food and continued eating before.
I have before. I have convinced myself fully that it's mine because I'm like, okay, I think that's good.
Yes.
But yeah, we had mentioned icks at the end of the last episode and we wanted to hear some of your icks. So we had a good time reading everybody's icks and we're glad that we're not the only ones who get a little icky at things. And again, we all do them. Like half the icks I named today, I do.
Same.
So I'm like, I'm icked at myself. But but again, if you can't laugh at yourself, you can't be grossed out a little bit by yourself. What's the fun in it?
Yeah, it was pretty funny to read through some of your guys's. And next week, we'll pick back up with some of our history and, businessy stuff. But these past couple weeks, we've thought it was fun to just let you guys get to know us a little bit better and hopefully provide a laugh.
Yeah, we've been in a silly mood and we were like, we also want this podcast to be a mix of both. So we felt like we really wanted that. And then again, if there's something you ever want to be a topic, it doesn't have to be something about us, but if you're like, oh my God, I love talking about this with my girlfriends, I'd love to hear your take.
Yes.
Please message us on Instagram or whatever because
Agree.
We totally love that. And we love getting your input on stuff.
I know.
It's so fun for us to hear. So.
I know. Agreed.